laid off employee sells 48,000 on Amazon over the last 12 months. All books. His average sales price is $35, which means his margin is above 30%. Books are the highest margin product you can sell on Amazon FBA. I'm here joined with Scott. Welcome to the Amazon Savages Podcast.
Welcome to the Amazon Savages Podcast. Hear the stories of Amazon sellers crushing it in the game and keep up with the latest strategies that are working. Sit back, relax, and remember, if you truly try and work really hard, you will make a ridiculous amount of money selling on Amazon.
Welcome to the podcast, brother. Nice to see you again. You got the Books and Beyond shirt. You were at Books and Beyond conference.
It was great.
So if you want to tell people how you got started, and I know you know your numbers because I asked for them. If you want to share kind of what your numbers are, and let's get into it.
I got started selling about two years ago, just like a lot of people do, just kind of selling a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And then about a year and a half ago, I was watching, at lunch, videos to better myself. And I ran across a podcast or a video that Joji was talking to Warner Fields about books, and that how books, he's doing great at just selling books. And that was the one thing I was doing really well at. So I was like, great. So I started watching his videos, and then a couple of months later, he met Victor, and Victor kind of got us into seasonal books.
Yeah, seasonal books.
So I did a few seasonal books a year ago because it was kind of late to get started into that, and I was kind of nervous. But I started doing. I really did a lot of Christmas books last year, and I made just a ton of money, and I was like, "This is great."
You did 5,000 to 6,000 profit last Christmas, right?
Yeah. Easily. I probably had maybe 200-300 books, and I think just about every one of them sold except maybe like a dozen. And some of them were flying. I was in mid-November. I was already out of them, and I was buying them again. And they all sold before the end of the year. And I was like, this is crazy. Yeah, but it really does. They do sell.
Yeah. So I want to dive into the online arbitrage, but first, you want to talk about how you've been able to find books dirt cheap and sell them. Like, what's been your main strategy starting out?
My main strategy originally was just kind of going to garage sales and some estate sales, but I didn't realize that there was ways to find estate sales. I was just, I would just drive around main streets in my area and find some garage sales and some estate sales, and I did pretty well at them. But it was just kind of like, not enough. And then someone told me that there's websites where you can go to find estate sales. And I, like in May or June, I got laid off my hours got cut originally a day a week. I'm like, how am I going to make this money up? And I was going to I got to get a part-time job. I'm like, wait, no, I'm going to double down on my books. So I had, Thursdays and Fridays off in the mornings. So I just went to estate sales, and the first estate sale I went to, I ended up buying 2 full sets of this British TV show. They were 5 DVDs each. So each set was $5 a piece, and I sold them each for $200. And it was like, whoa. And so after that, it was like, I'm just going to hit estate sales. And so I've been going to estate sales, thrift stores, but mostly estate sales. Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, I'll hit probably 4 or 5 every day. Mm-hmm. And I'll probably pull out maybe 100, 150 books, and some even more, some weekends even more, in a good weekend, and just filling up my garage.
Yeah. Yeah. And your average sales price is $35. So if you're able to find 100 books, you're looking at $3,500 in sales value.
Yeah. It's amazing. Some of the books that I've found, and it's the best part for me is, it's like you go in there and it's like, sometimes it's 3 or 4 different book buyers, if there's a lot of books, and I'll go back, after, because they just scan the barcodes, and they leave everything else. And, I went to an estate sale, and I knew I wasn't the first one there because I could see the holes in the books that had been pulled out, and they never went to this guy's back room. And I pulled out a book I bought for $1. It was some kind of technical manual. I sold it for $385 within less than a month after it was out. And I was like, whoa, this is great.
Yeah.
But,
so do you notice that at estate sales, your acceptance rate for books is way higher?
It depends. I mean, some of them just have a lot of junk. I mean, some of them, sometimes you'll go in there and all they have is the novels, and it's just like maybe one or two decent books. But sometimes these people are very eclectic people. If you can find someone who's I went last weekend. There was a professor. He was a very eclectic man. He played music. He recorded music. He was some kind of history buff. He was a gay man, and he had gay rights books and things like that. So they were all these different eclectic books. I mean, I was there. I went for 2 complete days. I went for 2 hours or 3 hours on the first day. I went back on the third day. I pulled out over almost 100 books, and they were giving them away. I got them for $50. I mean, most of them should probably be pretty good. And so it's just like finding, that's why I go to so many. If you go to 3 or 4 or 5 in a day, one's going to be a complete dud. One's going to be a complete home run, and the rest are going to be doubles and triples, or singles, just to use a baseball term. But, sometimes you'll pull out a couple of books, and sometimes, you'll just pull out, you just go in there and you just don't know what you have. But, I've been to estate sales where there's literally over 10,000 books. And you can tell they were curated because they were in a back room, and they were religious books, and they were sectioned off by, and they weren't all just one religion. It was every different religion. And it was like, I pulled out over 150 books out of that place.
That's awesome.
It's just like, you got to look at the pictures, but it's even better. Just sometimes you go, I'll print out my little, my sheets on where I'm going to go and what they have. And sometimes I'll just write on there just in case it's in the neighborhood, I'm going to pass it anyway. And I've gone to those and I've pulled out some great books that they don't even post pictures, because some of these people don't realize that books sell. They're posting pictures of, of the china and the furniture and the tools, but they don't realize that some of these, estate sales people don't realize that books if they have a lot of books, can be a big seller. So they don't even put pictures up, which makes it great because there's less competition, because then you can go in there. And there may be nobody there for hours. I've gone on second days, and there's, and it's a gold mine, and I'm like, how did nobody come here yesterday? And it's like, it's that's the thing, it's just, they look for the pictures of all the books, and if you can, find the ones that have a little less books, but they may have really good books. That's kind of what I've been going for.
Yeah. What were your biggest fears and concerns when you first started, and how'd you overcome those?
My biggest fear and concerns when I first started was money. Because kind of all my credit cards were kind of maxed out. So I was actually just I couldn't even get a credit card at the beginning. So I was just using the money that I was making from my sales, and then, just doing that. And then I was finally able to get a small, Amazon credit card, but I kept maxing that out. So I would have to, just keep paying that off. I mean, way early, than it was due, because I was, buying books, but it was just, trying to put as much money as I could into it, but I was trying to let the business pay for itself as best I could. I didn't, I was kind of in debt, or just kind of maxed out, and, kind of still recovering from the pandemic. And I, didn't want to get too far into debt, because I still wasn't sure what I knew, and, I didn't want to, go too crazy. But I started selling stuff, and then I was able to pay for the stuff that I was buying, and it just kind of worked from there.
Yeah. Your average sales price is nice, $35. So you're doing something right when it comes to sourcing the books. Do you want to talk a little bit about, like, what books do you leave on the shelves versus what books are you taking home to sell on Amazon?
I try and buy, I try and, listen to the scanner, but sometimes I think about, overruling it, or sometimes there's just books that don't even have barcodes, and you're there to, like that one I was telling you about that bought for $1 sold for $385. There was no barcode because it was a technical manual, and so I just kind of scanned it and just you're using your best judgment. That's what's great about doing this I've only been doing it for about 1.5 to 2 years, but you kind of learn to kind of trust your gut. And I go out and buy books, and there's a lot of times there's a lot of trash. It's like why did I buy this? And then I end up donating about 10 books out of a shipment. But I try and leave the books on the shelf that are even if it says that it's a good book, if it's going to sell for if Amazon's got it for $16, you're not going to make any money. And then they cut the price. I'm trying to get away from that. I'm trying to get books that at least sell for $25, $30, where if the price comes down a little bit, there's at least I can break even or make a couple of dollars.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know if you guys want to read a blog post, I've asked Scott a lot of questions, and he was kind enough to answer all of them via blog. So I'll link that blog below too, but I'm going to ask you another question from the blog post. What was a tough moment in your journey, and how did you push through that?
A tough moment.
Your answer here was the IP complaints.
Oh yeah, when I first started, before I was doing books, I was selling different things, and I bought some conditioner or shampoo or something like that I thought I had checked out, and then all of a sudden got an IP complaint, and it's like I got 2 IP complaints within a couple of weeks of each other, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to lose everything. But luckily, there was a community that I was dealing with. They were just like, nope, just you apologize, take it down, write a letter, and I was able to get past that. And but that's what I kind of like about books. There's very few of that now. There's some of the big publishers that have that, and I still get a little nervous about college textbooks.
Yeah.
But it's just I try and try and remember to check everything, and that's the hard part. It's just like there's so many steps, but before I send it out, anything in the textbook or of anything, to check it. Yeah.
How do you check it?
There's a website,
BooksRun
for counterfeit books. You just scan.
Shout out to BooksRun. They're the official sponsor of my YouTube channel. They're the buyback company that has sponsored.
Yeah, it's great. It's like it's saved me a whole bunch. I mean, sometimes there'll be someone in the group, or Victor will send out a whole list of books. But it's like, let me check it, and then every so often they're counterfeit. Not going to buy it. So that's that keeps us out of trouble.
Yeah. So what he's talking about is BooksRun.com has a counterfeit calculator, which checks for the likelihood of the book being counterfeit. Because when we sell used books on Amazon, we're selling used products. So even if you buy it from a library or Goodwill, there's a chance that it is counterfeit. So just stay away from those titles, and you can run those titles through BooksRun counterfeit calculator. They also have a mobile app too. For their buyback company, so you can check that out. But it's definitely a really good resource for the community. What has been your biggest success in selling books on Amazon?
My biggest success was the last 3 or 4 months have just been really just crazy for me. Where like I said, I first started. I was until I was started. Sourcing by the estate sales, 3 or 4 days a week, I was probably selling $50-$60 a day on average. And then after literally 4 or 5 weeks after I started the estate sales, all of a sudden I was hitting $200, $300 a day every day for like a couple. I mean, it was like, oh my God, what's going on? And then I was like, oh my God, it's the quantity of books and the quality of books that I was getting. So I mean, I was sending in. And I'm still sending in at least 100 to 150 books every week. In August, I hit, it was like $100 short of $9,000. And, that last day I was like, come on, someone buy something. Mm-hmm. But it was, that was crazy. And it was, I would say it was a good 50% of the estate sales, thrift stores, and then 50% of my online
Nice.
books for which was high school and college books, textbooks. And I was like, this is great, So it kind of it dropped back down in September, but in September I was about 5,700, 5,600, and which is great. I mean, I'll 9,000, I'll take it. But just if I can stay in that 5,000-6,000 range for right now and keep that growing and get everything under control, that's great. To see.
Yeah, 100%. Good work, man. By the way, that's awesome that your sales are getting out there. What keeps you motivated to continue growing your Amazon book business?
Basically, I want to do this full time. And I mean, I see you and Joji and Victor doing this full time, and I enjoy it. I mean, it's like it's the people always say when you're a kid, find something that you do, and if you find something you enjoy doing, then you'll never be working. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I'm standing at, I'm like, I'm doing that. I need to go look for work, and I'm like, wait, no, I'm actually working because I'm not fooling around. I'm actually going out to do this, and I just enjoy the books. I mean, it's like, so I want to be able to do this as a full-time gig. Like I said, I was laid off. I'm doing some stuff part-time, which I don't really enjoy doing. It helps a little bit, but being able to, the books, being able to see that I'm making, decent money where I can, just if I can just bump it up just a tiny bit more, I mean, I don't even have to, work. I can full time do, I can go do a few more estate sales on the weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then just spend the rest of the week, shipping them out. And if I could do that, I'd be really happy.
Yeah, that was my next question. Can you talk a little bit about your schedule? I know you're sourcing those days. Are you listing on one day? Are you listing multiple days?
I do right now. Listing I do. It takes me about a day and a half, give or take. I know there's probably faster ways to do it, but I'm still in that early phase where I care about what goes out and what it says. I don't want to send out a book that says it's brand new or likely or almost new, and it's a piece of junk. So I kind of take the time to sort through it, but I do know that I do need to speed it up. But
do you know how you can speed it up?
Go-to list.
Attention, Amazon FBA booksellers. I used to hate
bad for Go-To Lister, but yeah, the fastest listing software on the planet. Here's Steve's opinion on Go-To Lister.
The number one thing I love about it most is it helps me list and process my items that much faster. And as you know, if you want to grow your Amazon business, speed is the name of the game. If you're thinking about selling on Amazon or you're already selling and you want to be able to grow your business quicker, definitely check out Go-To Lister. Appreciate you, Avery, for creating the software, and it's really helping me grow my business. Much love.
I had to sneak that in there somewhere, but yeah, if you guys do want to list faster, go to lister.com, free trial. You'll get all the tutorials for how to use it. And you were just asking Scott how to track your numbers better. Yeah. We already tell you your profit, but we've been working all year in net profit. So if you guys want into your tax reporting for your Amazon business, telling you every single Amazon fee outside, buy cost, you'll be able to import outside costs as well, like software, stuff like that. If you want to know what you're truly making, that's the most important part, is what are you left with at the end of the day? Who cares if you did 40,000 in sales if you're only making $1,000? The important thing is margin. So I'd rather be doing 10,000 in sales, making 3,000 than 50,000 in sales, making 1,000. Right. And some people do run their Amazon businesses that way. So track your numbers, guys. Next, how has your perspective on entrepreneurship changed since you started selling books on Amazon?
I just, the fact that I know what I'm doing now, I enjoy doing all this, that it just kind of makes it easier to go forward. That I've made, I've laid the groundwork for what I have right now, and I see you guys, the guys that are that have gotten to the next level, and I kind of want to get there. And, I see that the path that I'm taking, that I'm, making good decisions. I'm trying not to buy junk. And, when I do, I kind of just like either before I can list it, toss it and, kind of learn from that. But I'm just kind of trying to, learn on the fly, but, kind of do the things that I've kind of learned and try and do them better.
Heck yeah. Good stuff. What tips do you have for the beginners out there who are like scared to get started? Maybe what would you tell yourself like when you first started that you wish you knew?
The thing that you is get good the scanning software, the Scout. I use ScoutIQ and I love it. Is for me for that is to remember to put your prices in before when you're scanning with that. I can't tell you how many times I'll get home and it's like, why did I buy this book? And it's like, because you didn't put in that you bought it for $2 and and so it's that kind of stuff like that. But it's really just you got to get out and do it. It's it's getting out and scanning. In my area, I had to do because thrift stores were the Goodwills they're getting out of the game here. I think they're sending them all to the big headquarters where there's very few books on the shelf, so it's really kind of get out. And estate sales are great, and because you can get there and it may not even be picked over. You go to a thrift store, there's a good chance that it's been picked over. You may find a couple of a new book or two here or there, and I found some great books at thrift stores. But estate sales, I've gone second, third day, and if it hasn't been picked over, I went on a third day. Early on, I went on a third day, and still didn't know what I was doing. But I found a couple of books, and one of the books was $100 book. It was just sitting there on the shelf. I mean, it's like I don't know if anyone else had been there, and it was a great neighborhood. It wasn't even like a bad neighborhood. It was a very high end neighborhood. It's just kind of get out there, even if you can do it one day a week. There's a estate sale. I think it's estatesale.net, and they have a map. And if you look at it the day before, it's in red, all the new stuff for tomorrow. So like on Thursday night, look for Friday, before midnight, and look to see what's in red. And then the red is new. So if you can get there, get there about 15, 20 minutes early. Even if you're standing in line, you want to be one of the first people in the door. And just start scanning, and then just bring a bag, at least a bag or two, big, canvas bag, and put your stuff in there. And if you have time, go, when you're done, rescan it, if you can. But if it's only $1 or $2, sometimes it's not worth it to stop and check everything out, because you could be going on to another estate sale, and you may lose a couple of dollars here or there, maybe 2 or 3, maybe lose $10, but your time is better used to get to the next estate sale, and try and find like 3 or 4 estate sales within a 5, 6, 10 mile radius. And then, just see which ones have the best stuff, and then just kind of work your way around. And, you just walk through. But they'll the big sellers only go in there and they scan the books. If it has a barcode, they scan it. If there's no barcode, they don't usually stop and check. Just learn how to use your ScoutIQ and use that ISBN scanner, and then just go in there and scan the ISBN numbers, because I have found tons of stuff. And even if it doesn't have an ISBN, just scan it with the Amazon app, and you'll learn to know which books are take a chance on. But sometimes if it's just $1, you just take it home. If you're not sure, just take the book home and do some more research on it. I bought a book that I couldn't figure it out. Should I buy it? Should I not buy it? It was $1. I took it with me, ended up selling it for $100, because, I was able to, just take it home. Don't buy a $20 book, if you're not 100% sure that you can sell it for money. But $1 or $2 is worth the investment. It's worth the risk.
Do you want to talk a little bit about Books and Beyond? Because I'm a huge believer in going to conferences. When I first started my book business, I paid to go to Turn the Page conference was the name of it. They don't have it anymore. And for me, that literally, it sounds crazy to say this, but it gave me a network of friends who are millionaires or on their way to be in the Amazon space. Caleb Roth, my friend Taylor Jones, Joji, Victor. I met them all like at events, and Joji and Victor knew about me from social media, which is part two of the equation. I think if you're selling on Amazon, you should have a social media presence, even if it's small. Have an Instagram or Facebook, engage with the community, post, your shipments, post your just if you can get yourself out there a little bit, you're going to be able to brush shoulders with other sellers. But do you want to talk about Books and Beyond and what you got out of that event?
Oh, it was great. Just, it was kind of, the first night I was there, luckily I was able to get there a day, 2 days before. I got there on Thursday, and that Thursday night, I was, seeing if anyone was having dinner, and Victor was like, hey, we're going to meet over here. There's if you want to join us. So I ended up, there was 6 people at the table, maybe 7 or 8 people at the table. And, it was Victor and Frank from Little Owl. And I mean, it was like, it was just like a master class and just, just talking, but it was just like, I got to, pick Frank's brain about, certain things. And it was just like, about, and it was just, stuff. And even if I'd have gotten there a day later, I wouldn't have gotten the access to these people that I got just for that first day. And it was just kind of sitting around and, learning and talking and we can do this or, those types of things. And then just the people I met, and then you just don't know where you're going to pick up a little nugget that even for that is worth the trip. And, I was talking at the after party on Saturday night, talking to FBA Dave, and we were kind of talking about, he's asking me what I do. And, he was asking me about what my minimums are when I scan. And I told him, I think it was $2-3. He goes, you got to do at least a minimum of $5. And I'm like, oh yeah, I could, I see that. And that was, to be honest with you, that was worth the whole trip, because there are things that you should know, but you just don't realize. Mm-hmm. And so I came home, I changed my settings, and I'm just going to try and be, a little more picky, because, I'm like, you see, I'm doing well on what I'm doing now, but it's eliminating the lower end junk. Mm-hmm. But everything else, just, just there were so many different people that I talked to. I mean, just hearing the stories of, just the motivating, hearing Reezy and, Jameson, just their stories. It was just, hearing how, they came from just really bad backgrounds that to turn themselves into what they are. And, kind of let you know that, hey, these guys did it. And, Joji and you and Victor and Steve Rakin, do it. And they're, so I just kind of know that I can do it. And after, but there was just the meeting all the different people was just great, because, you pick up a little bit here and a little bit there. And, it was kind of cool. And I was talking to a guy, and, I kind of got him, excited about doing estate sales. And I was, telling him, hey, make sure you go to, look for the little nicer neighborhoods if you can. And, don't pass on the cookbooks, especially the old cookbooks. It was just kind of made me feel, like, you guys have been helping us. It kind of made me feel like, that I'm helping somebody else, that, that next, generation of people. It's like, just, when you walk into an estate sale, it took me months to learn these things. Oh yeah, cookbooks sell, great. But now that I was able to tell him, just I sold a cookbook for $120. I sold one for $50 that I bought for a couple of dollars. And don't pass on those. Just the ethnic cookbooks, the Italian, Greek, Jewish, any of those ethnic older type books. People want, because they're out of print, and grandma had it, so they want it for themselves when they get married. And just don't pass on anything.
Heck yeah. Well, good stuff, Scott. Thanks for coming on. That was super, super valuable. Can people ask you questions? You're in the Facebook groups, right?
Yes, I'm in Book Mine. I'm in the Booksellers group as well. And
Yeah.
I do need
We
to.
have tons of them. If you guys want to, this way. If you guys want to message him on Facebook, he's right here.
Yep.
Thanks so much, Scott, for coming on, and we'll talk soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.